let's look at the way of thinking that affects curriculum development. You see, how I think, how I see things would affect how I develop a curriculum for you. Let's take it this in this way. I believe that students must be made to construct their knowledge. So in developing the curriculum, I would make sure that students are given enough room to practice. Someone may believe that students at an early age should not be made to explore, lest they make mistakes. So somebody should teach them the right way. So these two ways are different ways of thinking, what you call the world view. So we are looking at some few world views, how some people think and how they affect curriculum development. Okay. So these are some of them: perennialism, progressivism, existentialism, idealism, realism. So these are the ones we'll be looking at briefly. Okay, some of the proponents of Perennialism are Adler and Robert Hitchens. Now, when you talk about Perennialism, they believe that students must spend most of their time with reading, writing, and arithmetic, the 3 R's. Okay, so in the days of old, you see, our parents, most of them knew how to write very well, because that was the focus. Students should be able to read, students should be able to write, and then perform mathematical operations. They place more importance on reading. If those with this worldview place more importance on reading, they want to teach character values and training. So that is why in the olden days we had Bible knowledge, BK, as a course to teach values. They have few textbooks. And these textbooks are textbooks of great writers. So they believe that the best way to learn is to learn from a great man, a great person, a great thinker. So you should be using William Shakespeare's book. You should be using Thorndike's book. These are people who are very accomplished, and these are the books you should use to guide you. So, as if you are a teacher with this perennialist view, you don't lecture, but you lead only in discussions. So, a summary: the role of the teacher is to teach time-honored classics. So the teacher would have to teach some important values that have transcended over the years. The teacher should be a lifelong learner, always learning. The teacher should be a discussion leader, not a lecturer. So the student role is to be actively thinking. So as they give them history, as they tell them about great thinkers, then they also think to become like these people. So you realize, like Socrates training Plato also training Aristotle, that manner. So they cherish that, that there is always a great teacher you must learn from. Okay, so the teaching tools for perennialists are standardized tests. They believe in tests, and is teacher-made tests. They believe in memorization. That is why the olden days mentor, mentor, Yes, they believe in mentors, and they believe in classic books. You use classic books to teach. Classic, when you talk of classic books, books of old that have distinguished themselves out of the lot. So, classic literature book can be William Shakespeare's book. Classic psychology books will be books by Thorndike, will be books by Skinner, will be books by Farrant. So these are classic books. So they believe that classroom management, there should be orderly rules as we do now, and it must be neat. There must be strict rules, and then there must be reward and punishment. They are more of the, what do you call it, behaviorist. Yeah. Let's look at progressivism. Now, progressivism is saying no. What works is what must be studied. That is pragmatism. What works? If the thing works, if the thing benefits the society, it must be studied. If it is not benefiting the society, it must not be studied. So, some of you who entered the training college some years back, we were doing what we call HIV as a course. Now it has lost its significance, so it is no more part of the curriculum. You see, so progressivism believe that what is working, what will benefit the society, is what must be within the curriculum, or what must be taught. Not just anything, just anything you put it in the curriculum. No. If it doesn't work, don't teach us. Don't teach the students. So that is the progressivist view, or the pragmatic view. Let's go in. They focus on the whole child rather than on the content on the teacher or the teacher. So they believe that you must always think about the child, growing the child in totality, not just about the content. You see, now with the old curriculum, we were focused on the content. We were focused on how much you have been able to teach, but not how much students have been able to learn. So it should rather be focused on the development of the child rather than the coverage of the syllabus. Progressivists or pragmatic believe that tests should be by active experimentation. Students should test ideas by active experimentation. So whatever thing you say, students must experiment to see whether it is working or not. Learning is rooted in the questions of learners that arise through experiencing the world. So as students go out, research, encounter issues, and bring them to the classroom, these are the things that must drive learning. So what students want to know is what you teach them, not what you want. So students should be active, not passive. So the emphasis is on the process, how one comes to know more. Okay. So they believe that the school should improve the way of life. So I shouldn't go to school to suffer. I should go to school to have a better life. Now, shared decision-making, planning of teachers with students, um, students selected topics are all aspects. So, whatever happens in the school, students must have a stake in it. Topics to be learned, students must have a stake. Books are tools rather than authorities. So books are means to an end, not in totality. So when you give students books, they are not the final say. They can read and then get other sources to supplement. The role: the learner is a problem solver and a thinker who makes meaning through his or her own individual experience in the physical and cultural context. So the student is a thinker and is a problem solver. Now the teacher provides the experiences that learners can use to achieve this thinking skills we need. Now, existentialism. They believe that no, leave students to do whatever they want, but they must live by the consequence of their action. So everything must lie within the individual. So you give an assignment and students decide when they want to bring it. And then that choice is respected, and then if student fails to bring it by that time, whatever you want to do applies, because students must take responsibility for his or her action. They believe that students can also think. So we should not accept someone's predetermined philosophies. So what the student want to learn is what must hold. The focus is on freedom, the development of authentic individuals. Okay, so the question is, who am I and what should I do? So the student asks himself, who am I? And then, what do I do? So when you talk about existentialism, as I've mentioned, mostly what is studied should be a personal choice. You give them the various models, and then they decide which one to study. So they come to school, they have a list of courses. So in a university, you have the list of courses there, and the student decides that, okay, for me, I'm going to do Bachelor of Bachelor of Education, Information Technology with Social Studies and English. So this person tries to do English courses, tries to do IT courses, tries to do social studies courses. So the person decides what he wants to do, and you respect it. So existentialists are opposed to thinking about students as objects to be measured, tracked, or standardized. So the students are unique. Why do you compare them to another? So you don't give them the same test. That is what they believe. They should start with students rather than on the curriculum content. Idealism by Plato. So this is the earliest philosophy. Now, they believe that knowledge is acquired through reasoning, acquired through thinking. So, as you think about something, you get to learn. As you think about it, you get to learn. So, everything exists in the mind. Everything exists in the mind. So, what doesn't exist? That is what the mind cannot think of doesn't exist. So, if I've not heard of anything, then it means it doesn't exist. But that is not true. Okay. So they distinguish between knowledge gained from senses and the knowledge gained through thinking. So they believe that you can get some knowledge through your senses, but more of it depends on your thinking. So true knowledge is innate and brought to bear through reflection. So you have everything within your head, within your mind. So let me say that you can do elective maths, you can do astrophysics, you can do physics, you can learn nanotechnology, you can learn Java, all exist in the mind. So as you give a thought to it, then you open the covering around that knowledge, and then it comes to bear. You can now know it. So as you reflect on something, you're able to learn it. So they believe that to learn means to recall existing ideas. So whatever is in the mind is what you are recalling. So whatever information you receive, reason acts upon information from the environment. Whatever information you receive from the environment, you think about it. They believe you think about it. Okay. Now, Aristotle is also the student of Plato, who disagreed with his master. So he believes that it's not always that you can think about something to know. There are times that you can learn from the environment through your senses. And then John Locke also came with his popular tabula rasa. So they believe that knowledge can be gained through the senses. So you can smell, you can hear, you can touch, you can taste to learn. So one is they believe that things are related. So when you recall something, it recalls the other. So assuming every time there is a light off, you'll be ironing. So as soon as you start ironing, you think of a light off. So they believe that things are related. So if you think about one, it affects the other. John Locke also believes that we came as a blank slate, tabula rasa. So our impressions, what we get, the impressions we get through the senses, and our personal awareness help us to learn. So how we are self-aware, how we recognize our environment, what is around us, help us to learn. So these are some few philosophies that shape the thinking of that shape the development of curriculum. So looking at all these, where do you fall? Where do you fall? Okay, so when we meet in class, tell me what you're thinking is about these philosophy. Which one is similar to what you're thinking now? Okay. So in our next lecture, we'll be looking at the curriculum models. Curriculum models.